Maya walked through the halls of the Galactic Integration Academy and felt very, very small. All around her, students from dozens of different worlds moved between classes. Some floated on gas-filled bladders. Some walked on 6 legs. Some had tentacles instead of arms, and almost all of them were bigger than her. Maya was 16 years old. She stood 5 feet and 4 inches tall. On Earth, she was average height for a girl her age. Here on Station Helix 9, she was tiny. The station hung in space between 3 different star systems. It was neutral territory, a place where the children of important families came to learn together. Diplomats sent their kids here. Military commanders sent their kids here. Rich merchants sent their kids here. The idea was simple. If the future leaders of different species grew up together, maybe they would not start wars when they became adults. Maya's father had become Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council just 6 months ago. Humanity had only discovered faster-than-light travel 3 years before that. In galactic terms, humans were bobbies, new, unknown, unimportant. And now Maya was the first human student at the most famous school in this part of the galaxy. She found her first classroom and stepped inside. The room went quiet. 40 alien faces turned to look at her. 40 different species, 40 different shapes, 40 different sizes. Most of them had never seen a human before. Maya found an empty seat near the back. The desk was too big for her. The chair was too tall. She climbed up and sat down, letting her feet hang above the floor. A creature next to her made a sound like grinding rocks. Maya's translation implant turned it into words. "You are the human." "Yes," Maya said. The creature had gray skin and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle. "You are small." "Yes," Maya said again. The creature lost interest and turned away. Maya watched and waited. She was good at watching. She was good at waiting. The teacher entered. It was a being made of what looked like living crystal, light refracting through its body in rainbow patterns. It began to speak about galactic history. Maya listened, but she also watched her classmates. She learned things quickly. She learned that the small, insect-like beings with delicate wings were near the bottom of the social order. She learned that the Moravians, tall, thin creatures with too many joints, were somewhere in the middle. She learned that the furry beings with kind eyes were generally liked by everyone. And she learned that they were at the top. She saw her first in the lunch hall. He was 8 feet tall. He had 4 arms, each one thick with muscle. His body was covered in a natural armor, dark plates that overlapped like the shell of a beetle. His head had 2 large eyes, 2 smaller eyes below them, and a mouth full of sharp mandibles that clicked when he spoke. He walked through the lunch hall like he owned it. Other students moved out of his way. Some of them bowed their heads. Some of them pressed themselves against walls. Nobody challenged him. Nobody even looked at him directly. Maya looked at him directly. She sat alone at a small table, eating something that her translation implant said was safe for human digestion. She watched the student move through the room. She saw how other students reacted to him. She understood power. She had seen it before, in different forms, in different places. They stopped at a table where a small student sat alone. There was even smaller than Maya, maybe 3 feet tall, with a body like a praying mantis and wings folded against its back. It was eating quietly, not bothering anyone. They reached down with one of his 4 arms and knocked this food to the floor. They made a high-pitched sound of distress. It looked up at them with large, frightened eyes. They laughed. The sound was harsh and ugly. "Clean it up," they said. His voice was deep and rumbling. "Insects should eat off the floor anyway." They climbed down from its seat. It began to pick up the spilled food with trembling hands. They watched and laughed again. Then he walked away, satisfied. Maya kept watching. She saw teachers in the lunch hall. They had seen what happened. They did nothing. They looked away. They pretended not to notice. She understood. The student was protected. His family was powerful. Nobody would help nobody would stand against Maya finished her food. She walked over to and kneeled down beside it. The small creature looked up at her with surprise and fear. "Are you okay?" Maya asked. This translation came through high and musical. "You should not talk to me, or we'll be angry." Or that's his name. Yes, his father is a war admiral, very powerful, very dangerous. The wings fluttered nervously. "Please go away, he will hurt you too." Maya helped to pick up the rest of the spilled food. "I'm Maya," she said. "I am called Pip," the said. "Please, human, go away. You do not understand how things work here." Maya stood up. "Maybe," she said, "maybe not." She walked back to her table. She could feel eyes on her. The Or had noticed. He was watching her from across the room. His 4 eyes were fixed on her. His mandibles clicked slowly. He began walking toward her. Maya sat down and waited. She kept her breathing steady. She kept her face calm. She had learned a long time ago that showing fear was the worst thing you could do. Or stopped at her table. He towered over her. His shadow blocked out the light. "You are the human," he said. "Yes. I saw you talking to the insect. His name is Pip." Or's mandibles clicked faster. Maya understood that this was a sign of anger or amusement, maybe both. "You are new here," Or said, "so I will explain how things work. The weak serve the strong. The small fear the large. This is the natural order. This is how things have always been." Maya looked up at him. She did not look away. "Thank you for explaining. You are very small, human. I have heard about your species. Soft skin, weak bones, no claws, no armor, no venom." He leaned down closer to her. "I have heard that humans break easily." Maya said nothing. She just watched him with calm, dark eyes. Something in that calmness seemed to bother Or. He had expected fear. He had expected her to tremble, to look away, to submit. She did none of those things. He straightened up. His 4 arms crossed over his armored chest. "We will see each other again, human," he said. "I think I am going to enjoy teaching you your place." He walked away. Other students whispered and stared. They felt sorry for the small human girl. They knew what Or did to those who caught his attention. They knew she would suffer. Maya watched him go. Her face showed nothing. But inside her mind she was already thinking, already planning, already remembering lessons learned long ago in a very different place from a very different teacher. She had been underestimated before. It was usually a mistake. The harassment began the next day. Maya was walking to her morning class when something hard slammed into her shoulder. She stumbled and almost fell. Her tablet flew from her hands and crashed against the floor. Or walked past her without stopping. "Clumsy human," he said. "You should watch where you are going." Other students saw. None of them said anything. None of them helped her pick up her tablet. They just hurried past, keeping their heads down, glad that they were not his target. Maya picked up her tablet. The screen was cracked. She kept walking. The next day it happened again. She was in the corridor when Or appeared behind her. His foot caught her ankle. She fell hard, her knees hitting the metal floor. Pain shot through her legs. "Weak," Or said, laughing. "Humans cannot even walk properly." Maya got up. She did not cry. She did not complain. She walked away. The day after that, she was eating lunch when Or walked past and knocked her food tray into her lap. Hot liquid soaked through her uniform. It burned her skin. She did not make a sound. "Perhaps humans should not eat at tables," Or said. "Perhaps they should eat on the floor like the insects they befriend." Pip watched from across the room, trembling with fear. Other students watched too. They whispered to each other. "Why does she not fight back? She cannot fight back. She is human. She is nothing. She is smart to be afraid. Or we'll break her eventually." But Maya was not afraid. She was waiting. Every night she went back to her family's quarters on the station. Her father was busy with diplomatic work. He was trying to build relationships with other species, trying to prove that humanity deserved a place in the galactic community. He did not know what was happening to his daughter at school. Maya did not tell him, not yet. She had her own way of handling things. In her small room she exercised, push-ups, sit-ups, stretches. She kept her body ready. She had been doing this for years, ever since she was a little girl in Earth home. Maya's mother had died when she was very young. She barely remembered her. After that, Maya's father had thrown himself into his work. He was gone most of the time. Maya was raised by her grandmother and her uncle. Her uncle was named Carlos. He was a big man with hands and a gentle smile. He had been a fighter once, not the kind of fighter who wore fancy uniforms and bowed to referees. Carlos had fought in the underground rings of outer districts. Vale, they called it. Anything goes. No rules. No mercy. Carlos had seen something in his little niece. She was small, yes. She was quiet, yes. But there was something behind her eyes, something hard, something that would not break. He began to teach her when she was 8 years old. "You will always be smaller," he told her. "You will always be weaker. This is not a problem. This is an advantage." "How is it an advantage?" little Maya had asked. "Because they will underestimate you. They will think you are easy prey. And by the time they realize they are wrong, it will be too late." He taught her how to fight, not the pretty, clean fighting of sports, the ugly, efficient fighting of survival. He taught her how to use an enemy's strength against them. He taught her how to find weak points. He taught her how to end a fight in seconds. "A long fight is a losing fight," Carlos said. "You do not have the size or the strength to survive long battles, so you must end things quickly. Strike hard. Strike first. Strike where it hurts most." Maya remembered these lessons every night in her room on Station Helix 9. She remembered them every day when or pushed her, tripped her, humiliated her. She was not being weak. She was gathering information. She watched how or moved. She studied his body. She noticed how his 4 arms worked together. She noticed how his weight shifted when he walked. She noticed the gaps between his armor plates, the thin areas at his joints, the soft tissue at his throat. She went to the station's library and found information about biology. She learned that their antennae were extremely sensitive. She learned that their throat armor was thinner than the rest because they needed flexibility to swallow food. She learned that their joints, where the plates connected, were protected only by thick cartilage. She learned how to hurt a. One afternoon, she was eating lunch with Pip. The small had started sitting with her. He was still afraid, but he was also grateful that someone treated him with kindness. "Why do you not fight back?" Pip asked. "Why do you just accept what or does?" Maya looked at him. "Who said I am accepting it?" "But you do nothing. You just walk away." "There is a difference between doing nothing and waiting for the right moment." Pip's wings fluttered with confusion. "I do not understand." "You will," Maya said, "soon." That evening Or found her in an empty corridor. She was alone, no witnesses. He blocked her path, all 4 arms spread wide, his mandibles clicking with pleasure. "I have been patient with you, human," he said. "I have given you many chances to learn your place, but you still look at me with those calm eyes. You still refuse to show proper fear." Maya said nothing. She watched him. "I think it is time for a real lesson," Or continued. "Tomorrow, in the recreation hall, everyone will watch. Everyone will see what happens to species that do not know their place." "What will happen?" Maya asked. Her voice was quiet. Or laughed. "I am going to break you, human. I am going to hurt you until you scream, until you beg, until you crawl on the floor and admit that you are nothing." Maya looked up at him. 8 feet of armored alien warrior, 4 arms, sharp mandibles, a body built for violence. "Tomorrow then," she said. She walked past him. He let her go, too surprised to stop her. He had expected fear. He had expected tears. He had expected her to run away. Instead, she had agreed. She had accepted his challenge. This small, soft, weak human girl had looked at him without fear and said yes. In her room that night, Maya did not sleep. She exercised. She stretched. She reviewed everything she knew about anatomy. She planned every move she would make. Tomorrow, the galaxy would learn something important about humans. They would learn that size was not everything. They would learn that armor could be pierced. They would learn that the quiet ones were often the most dangerous. They would learn why humans had survived on a planet full of predators, in a universe that wanted them dead. Maya did her final stretches and climbed into bed. She closed her eyes. Her heart was calm. Her breathing was slow. Tomorrow would be interesting. The morning came slowly. Maya woke before the station's lights turned on. She lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Her body felt light. Her mind felt clear. She was not nervous. She was ready. She got up and went through her morning routine. She ate a small breakfast. Too much food would make her slow. She dressed in her school uniform. She stretched carefully, warming up every muscle, every joint. Her father was already gone, busy with meetings. He had left a note saying he would be home late. Maya was glad. She did not want to explain what was about to happen. She walked to the academy. Students stared at her as she passed. Word had spread overnight. Everyone knew about Or's challenge. Everyone knew what was going to happen in the recreation hall. They looked at her with pity. Some of them whispered, "Poor thing, she does not know what she is facing. The will destroy her. Someone should stop this." "No one will stop it. Or's family is too powerful. At least it will be quick." Maya ignored them. She walked with steady steps, her face calm, her eyes forward. Pip found her in the corridor outside the recreation hall. The little was trembling so hard his wings made a buzzing sound. "Maya, please," Pip said. "You cannot do this. Or has killed before. On his home world he fought in the youth combat rings. He has broken bones. He has torn off limbs. You cannot fight him." "I have to," Maya said. "No, you do not. You can run. You can tell the teachers. You can hide." Maya looked at her small friend. "Pip, if I run, what happens to you? What happens to all the others he bullies? Nothing changes. He keeps hurting people. He keeps making everyone afraid." "But you will die." Maya shook her head. "No, I will not." She said it with such certainty that Pip did not know what to say. He stared at her with his large, compound eyes, trying to understand. How could this small, soft human be so calm? How could she face a warrior without fear? Maya put her hand on Pip's thin shoulder. "Watch," she said, "and learn something about humans." She walked into the recreation hall. The room was already full. Students of every species had gathered, forming a large circle in the center of the hall. They stood on chairs, on tables, on each other. Everyone wanted to see. Everyone wanted to watch the human get broken. Maya walked through the crowd. They parted for her, moving aside with whispers and stares. She stepped into the center of the circle and stopped. The floor was hard metal. The lights above were bright. The air was thick with the smell of dozens of different species. Maya breathed slowly and let her senses sharpen. She thought about what her uncle had taught her. He had told her about human history, about the things that made humans different from other animals on Earth, and now, different from other species in the galaxy. "We are persistence predators," Carlos had said. "Long ago, before weapons, before tools, our ancestors hunted by running. They would chase an animal for hours, for days, until it collapsed from exhaustion. Humans can keep going longer than almost any creature alive." He told her about adrenaline, the chemical that flooded human blood in times of danger. It made pain fade. It made strength grow. It made impossible things possible for a little while. "When a human is truly fighting for their life," Carlos said, "they become something more, faster, stronger, harder to stop. This is our gift. This is what kept us alive on a world full of things that wanted to eat us." He told her about human minds, How humans could read patterns faster than they understood. How a human could predict what an enemy would do before the enemy knew themselves. Your eyes will see everything, Carlos said. Your brain will process it all. You will know where to strike before your enemy knows they are in danger. This is why humans are frightening. Not because we are strong, because we are fast, because we are smart, because we will not stop. Maya remembered all of this as she stood in the center of the recreation hall. She remembered something else too. Something Carlos had told her on the last day she saw him, before she left Earth for the stars. You are going to meet things out there that are bigger than you, stronger than you, things with claws and armor and teeth. They will look at you and see prey. They will think you are weak because you are small and soft. He had smiled then, his face creasing with warmth. Show them what humans really are. Show them that we are the species that climbed out of the mud and conquered a planet. Show them that we fought wars against ourselves with weapons that could crack the world. Show them that we do not give up. We do not surrender. We do not break. The crowd went silent, or entered the recreation hall. He was even bigger than Maya remembered. 8 feet of armored muscle, 4 arms flexing with anticipation. His mandibles clicked in a fast, eager rhythm. His 4 eyes were fixed on her. He walked into the circle and stopped 10 feet away from Maya. He raised all 4 arms, displaying his power to the watching crowd. Students cheered. Someone made a hissing sound of approval. Little human, Or said, I gave you a night to think about this. I thought perhaps you would run. Perhaps you would beg, but here you are, standing, waiting. Maya said nothing. She was counting his breaths, watching how his weight shifted, reading the way his muscles tensed beneath his armor. Do you have any final words? Or asked. Any message for your species? Any prayers to whatever gods humans believe in? Maya shifted her weight slightly. She positioned her feet. She relaxed her hands, keeping them open and ready. No prayers, she said. No messages, no final words. Or's mandibles spread in what might have been a smile. Then let us begin. He lunged. He was fast, faster than something that big should be. His upper right arm swept toward her head with enough force to crush bone. But Maya was faster. Everything her uncle had taught her, everything her body remembered from years of training, everything that made humans the strange and dangerous things they were. It all came together in one perfect moment. The fight had begun, and it would be over in 10 seconds. Or's arm came at her like a hammer falling. Any other creature would have run. Any other creature would have tried to dodge away, to put distance between themselves and the massive warrior. That was the natural response. That was what prey did. Maya was not prey. In the first second, she stepped forward. She moved into his attack, not away from it. She ducked under his sweeping arm and slipped inside his reach. His 4 arms, which should have been an advantage, suddenly became a problem. They were designed to grab and crush enemies at a distance. Up close, they got in each other's way. Maya was now inches from his chest. She could smell him, a sharp, bitter scent like burning metal. She could hear his breath, the air rushing through the vents in his throat armor. In the second she struck. Her elbow drove upward into the gap at his throat. This was the spot she had studied, the place where his armor was thin because he needed flexibility to swallow. The cartilage here was softer than the plates on his chest or arms. Her elbow hit with perfect precision. All of her body weight, all of her momentum, all of her training went into that single strike. Or's breath exploded out of him. His throat made a horrible choking sound. His 4 arms spasmed, grabbing at empty air as he tried to understand what had happened. In the 3rd and 4th seconds, Maya did not wait. She knew the most dangerous moment in any fight was when your enemy was hurt but not finished. A wounded predator was more dangerous than a healthy one. She could not give Or time to recover. Her foot hooked behind his leading leg. At the same time, her shoulder drove into his chest. She used his own stumbling momentum against him. It was a move Carlos had taught her years ago. Size did not matter when you used your enemy's weight as a weapon. 8 feet of warrior crashed to the metal floor. The sound was enormous. The floor shook. Students gasped and screamed. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. The human girl had knocked down the biggest, strongest bully in the academy. But Maya was not done. In the 5th and 6th seconds, she followed him down. She landed on top of him, her knee pinning his lower left arm to the floor. Her body weight kept him from rising. He thrashed beneath her, his other 3 arms reaching for her, but she was too close, too fast, too precise. Her left hand shot up and grabbed his antenna. The effect was instant and devastating. Antennae were the most sensitive part of their bodies. They used them to smell, to sense vibrations, to communicate in ways other species could not understand. Grabbing one was like grabbing a handful of exposed nerves. Or screamed. It was not a scream of anger or challenge. It was a scream of pure, absolute pain. His 4 arms stopped reaching for her. His whole body went rigid. His mandibles spread wide, and a sound came out of him that none of the watching students had ever heard before. A warrior was crying out in agony, and a human girl was causing it. In the 7th and 8th seconds, Maya finished positioning herself. She twisted the antenna just slightly, sending fresh waves of pain through his body. While he was paralyzed by the sensation, her right hand moved to his face. Her fingers spread over his eye cluster, the 4 eyes that let him see the world. She pressed gently, not enough to damage, just enough to make him understand. One push, that was all it would take. One push and he would be blind forever. One push and his life as a warrior would be over. Or understood. Despite the pain flooding through his antenna, he understood exactly what was about to happen. In the 9th second, the recreation hall was completely silent. Hundreds of students from dozens of species stood frozen in shock. Teachers had arrived at the edges of the crowd, but they made no move to interfere. They were just as stunned as everyone else. Nobody breathed, nobody moved, nobody could believe what they were seeing. A human girl, small and soft and fragile, had defeated a warrior in seconds. She sat on top of him now, controlling his antenna with one hand and his vision with the other. She could cripple him with a single motion. In the 10th second, Maya spoke. Her voice was calm and clear. It carried through the silent hall without effort. Yield! Or lay beneath her, shaking with pain and shock. His 4 arms twitched uselessly. His mandibles clicked in a stuttering, broken rhythm. Everything he had believed about himself, about humans, about the galaxy, all of it had shattered in 10 seconds. He could refuse, he could try to fight on, but he knew with absolute certainty that she would blind him if he did. She was not bluffing. He could see it in her eyes. This human would destroy him without hesitation. I yield, he said. His voice was barely a whisper. His translator carried it through the room anyway. I yield. Maya released his antenna. She removed her hand from his eyes. She stood up and stepped back, moving out of his reach with careful, controlled movements. Or stayed on the floor. He did not get up. He could not get up. His body was still shaking, still processing the trauma of what had happened to him. Maya looked at him for a long moment. Then she turned and walked toward the edge of the crowd. Students moved out of her way. They scrambled over each other to give her room. They looked at her with new eyes, eyes full of fear, respect, and something else. Wonder. She had done the impossible. She had broken the unbreakable. She had proven that the natural order was not as natural as everyone believed. Maya walked through the crowd without looking back. She walked past the stunned teachers. She walked past Pip, who stared at her with tears running down his face. She walked out of the recreation hall and into the corridor beyond. Behind her, the silence finally broke. Voices erupted in a chaos of different languages. Students shouted and whispered and questioned what they had seen. Some of them were already sending messages to their families, to their friends, to their home worlds. A human had defeated in combat. A small, soft, weak human had taken down one of the galaxy's greatest warriors. In 10 seconds, the news would spread across the station within the hour. It would spread across the sector within the day. It would spread across the galaxy within the week. And everyone who heard it would ask the same question. What exactly were humans? The days after the fight were strange. Maya walked through the academy like she always had. She went to classes. She ate lunch. She studied in the library. Nothing about her behavior changed. But everything around her had changed. Students moved out of her way now, not with fear exactly, with respect. They looked at her differently. Some of them nodded when she passed. Some of them smiled. A few of them whispered thank you when they thought nobody else could hear. Or was gone. His family had taken him off the station the day after the fight. Officially, he had personal matters to attend to at home. Everyone knew the truth. He had been defeated by a human. He had yielded in formal combat. His reputation was destroyed. There were rumors that his father, the war admiral, was furious. There were other rumors that his father was impressed. Nobody knew for sure. Nobody wanted to ask. Pip stayed close to Maya now. The little followed her everywhere, his wings buzzing with happiness whenever she looked at him. He had found a protector. He had found a friend. He had found someone who made him feel safe. Everyone is talking about you, Pip told her one afternoon. They were sitting in the library studying together. Every species, every world. The news has spread everywhere. I know, Maya said. Are you not worried? They might want revenge. Maya shook her head, or yielded. By law, the matter is settled. His family cannot take action without losing honor. You know law. I studied it before the fight. Pip stared at her with something like awe. You planned everything. You knew exactly what would happen. I hoped I knew. Fighting is never certain, but yes, I planned. The other bullied students had found Maya too. They gathered around her like small animals around a fire. There was a Moravian who had been tormented for his thin arms. There was Sella, whose fur had been pulled and burned by Or's friends. There were others, many others, creatures of all shapes and sizes who had suffered in silence until now. Maya did not ask for followers. She did not try to build a group, but they came anyway. They felt safe near her. They felt like they mattered. 1 week after the fight, Maya received a visitor. She was in her family's quarters doing homework when her father called her to the living area. Standing there was as she had never seen before. He was older than Or, with graying plates and armor. His 4 eyes were calm and wise. Maya, he said. His voice was deep but not threatening. I am Al. I serve as cultural for the people on this station. Maya bowed her head slightly. I greet you with respect. Her father stood nearby, looking nervous. He did not know what this meeting was about. Neither did Maya, but she was not afraid. Al studied her for a long moment. Then he made a sound that might have been a laugh. You are smaller than I expected, he said. The recordings do not capture how small you are. Recordings. Every student in that hall was filming the fight. It has been watched by millions across the galaxy. Generals have studied it. Warriors have debated it. Academics have analyzed every second. Maya said nothing. She waited. Do you know what they concluded? Al asked. No. They concluded that you did not fight like a human. They said you fought like you were direct, efficient. You used superior technique to overcome inferior strength. Al moved closer. Despite her calm, Maya felt a flash of tension. The old noticed and smiled with his mandibles. But they are wrong, he continued. I watched the recording many times. You did not fight like at all, you fought like something else. Something we have not seen before. What did I fight like? Like a creature with nothing to lose. like someone who has decided that winning matters more than living. We are warriors, yes, but we fight for glory, for honor, for reputation. You fought like someone who did not care about any of those things. You fought only to win, only to survive. He paused, his 4 eyes fixed on her face. This is terrifying, he said. You are terrifying, small human, and I say this with the deepest respect. After Al left, Maya sat alone in her room for a long time. She thought about what he had said. She thought about her uncle back on Earth. She thought about all the lessons he had taught her. She sent him a message. It was short. I remembered what you taught me. Thank you. Days passed, life continued, but things were different now. When bullies approached smaller students, they checked first to see if Maya was nearby. When teachers ignored harassment, other students spoke up. When powerful families tried to throw their weight around, they discovered that their targets had protectors now. Maya had not planned to become a symbol. She had not planned to change anything. She had just wanted to stop one bully from hurting her and her friends. But sometimes that was how change began. One person, one moment, one refusal to accept the way things were. 2 months after the fight, a new student arrived at the academy. He was human, a boy from Lagos named. He was the second human student ever to attend the Galactic Integration Academy. Maya heard about his arrival and went to find him. She found him in a corridor near the entrance, surrounded by a group of older students. They were not attacking him yet. They were just testing, pushing to see how he would react. One of them, a tall creature with blue scales, was poking in the chest with a clawed finger. Another human, the scaled creature said. Another weak, soft, fragile human. I wonder if this one breaks as easily as it looks. Was trying to stay calm, but Maya could see the fear in his eyes. He was alone. He was new. He did not know how things worked here. Maya walked toward the group. She did not say anything. She did not have to. The scaled creature noticed her first. He saw her face. He saw her eyes. He remembered the recordings that everyone had watched. He remembered what she had done to Or. He stepped back. His clawed finger dropped to his side. We were just welcoming the new student, he said quickly. No harm intended. Maya stood next to. She looked at the group of older students. One by one, they found reasons to leave. They had somewhere else to be. They had classes to attend. They had anything at all to do that did not involve facing the small human girl with the calm eyes. When they were gone, let out a long breath. Thank you, he said. I do not know what would have happened if you had not come. Maya looked at him. Nothing would have happened. They were just testing you, but they will not test you again. Because of you. Maya smiled slightly. Because of us, because of what we are, humans look weak. Humans look fragile, but we are neither of those things. The galaxy is starting to learn this. She turned and walked away. Behind her, watched her go. He had heard stories about her on the way to the station. He had thought they were exaggerations. Now he understood they were not. Maya returned to her lunch table where Pip and the others were waiting. She sat down and continued eating. She did not look back at the corridor. She did not need to. The galaxy was learning about humans, one lesson at a time. And they were starting to understand that underestimating humanity was a very, very dangerous mistake.